Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know people from different parts of the globe have joined in for this class, and I'm really thankful. Um, I have, as usual, prepared a presentation for today's class. But before I go into the presentation, once again, I want to let you all know that even though we are discussing a topic and I'm providing you information on this topic, which could be triggering at times, which is an intimate topic, which could bring out at times our deepest wounds. It is important that all of us know that in this space where we are gathered together, even though it is a virtual space, we should know, and we all know, that we all hold space for each other and we are safe, right? We are all safe. So thank you so much for joining in today's class. Today's class is called Divorce and Undesired Inheritance. And let's go over to the presentation before anything else. Right. Here we are. I just want to check once my audio and video, because we know that we are working with technology, so we need to be a little bit assured about the connectivity. Gargi, if you could confirm it to me if my audio and video is all okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. So let's officially start today's masterclass, the short class that I'm providing you on certain systemic dynamics and systemic aspects around divorce as an undesired inheritance. So whenever we look at divorce, we see that it is the story of two individuals. Sometimes the children in the couple, if they are married, and if they, of course, have children, they get pulled in. And we see it as the story of two different individuals who basically come together. They may enter into a relationship via love, via arranged marriage. But then the separation is seen as an individual story, as a story between two people, right? But is that all the truth? Is that all the truth? Let's look at that. But before I go into the relationship aspect of this, I want to understand, and I want all of you to understand, how human beings develop and look into relationships and what contributes to their purview and perception of relationships, right? When a separation or a divorce happens, what forces are behind this singular individual that bring the individual to a space where they have to let go of the other person or let themselves go away from the other person? So there are certain forces. There are certain systemic dynamics which govern and affect the individual will of this person who is in the relationship, right? So we need to first of all understand what are these different dynamics operating behind in the unconscious of this individual, right? So we have to understand that there are two important ingredients of human development. Whenever a child is developing within the parents, there are two important aspects which are important for the development of this child. Number one is regulation, and number two is connection. So one thing that we have to know, that individuals and human beings are not isolated islands of existence. We are not people who exist by ourselves, know about ourselves from ourselves, experience our bodies and beings by simply being in this small little box. No, we don't. We are not individual, isolated islands of existence. We are not islands. This island that we are is also connected to the sea and connected to the ocean. right? And the sea and ocean around us is our mom, our dad, our siblings, our society, our extended family, our culture, our race, our tribe, our country. Everything around us affects who we become as people. But primarily, what is it that affects us? What are the primary foundations, primary pillars of affecting our personality, that affects our personality? These are our mom, our dad, maybe their mom and their dad, right? But then when we develop, how do we become aware of our identity? How do we become aware of our self-worth? How do we become aware of what we mean to our parents? Whether we are significant as children in our family or not, whether our opinions, our beliefs matter. What would I have to do in order to have mom's love? What is it that I will have to do in order to have dad's love? Do I need to become first in class in order to be accepted by mom? Do I need to become a strong human being or express my confidence in order to be accepted by dad? Will I have to bring 95 plus in my maths in order to be seen by my entire family as a valid human being, as a valid child? Will I have to be the star of the school or the star of the football team in order to be accepted by my cousins and my siblings? So these are certain questions which depend not on ourselves, but on our environment, which is our mom and dad and siblings and cousins and everyone. They are going to decide how worthy we are. And we also allow them to decide. So basically, we are not isolated islands of existence. We do not understand and derive our self-worth by reflecting on ourselves, but by taking this image and projecting on the people outside of us and letting them decide how worthy we are, how significant we are, how much it matters, right? What is our position in our family, right? And it is by this relation, we and them and we and them, we understand our identity, we understand our self-worth. So the first thing that is important is connection, that it is only by connecting to the outside world, we understand who we are. And this is the connection that regulates our body, regulates our emotional landscape, regulates our psychological landscape, because it is via them we finally understand our own self-worth. So connection is the first thing that's important for our own development. And secondly, regulation is the other thing that is important for our development. We get to know who we are, or how much we deserve, or are we worthy of love or not, right? These are few questions. So as human beings, we learn about our own identity, self-worth, our bodies, and our desires, even the aspirations we have, by being mirrored by others. When others outside of us, when our mom mirrors our emotions, right? Says, oh, you're such a beautiful boy. You know, you're such a good girl. Look at you, you've done so well in class. I'm so proud of you. You know, your dad is going to be so proud of you. When you say those things, you are validating the existence of the child. You are validating the significance of the child, how much they matter, what their worth is, what do they deserve. In fact, what do they even need to do in order to have the love? The dad says that I'm going to get you a bicycle if you get 100 out of 100 in science, right? And that's not only a transaction, but also a way of validating the importance, the significance of the child, right? So it is only by being mirrored by our parents, by our mom, by our dads, we get to know our identity, our self-worth, our bodies, and our desires. So the question is, can we then decide our identity, decide our self-worth, decide the wants and desires of our bodies and our aspirations all by ourselves? Can we do it individually, all alone, being trapped in a box without the connection, without the relatability to our parents, to our cousins, to our siblings? The answer is no. So we only learn about who we are in the context of our relatability, in connection to others. So it is always with and from the other that we know who we are. Because if the other did not exist, if mom did not exist, if dad did not exist, if siblings did not exist, if family did not exist, if society did not exist, we wouldn't know who we truly are, right? That's how we get to know who we are, by connection and then by regulation, right? So how does that happen? How does it actually happen? Okay, by now you understand that, okay, we know that it is by connection we get to know who we are, and it is by relatability, and that becomes our regulatory factor. But how does it happen at the body level, right? Our bodies and our nervous systems are also built in that manner. I would say our entire biology, our entire physiology is built in that manner in order to be mirrored by the outside world, and then we get to know who we are, right? For example, when a baby is born, the babies, of course, the babies don't have the fully developed brain. The baby does not have a fully developed nervous system. So how is the baby going to communicate? The baby is going to communicate by crying, by throwing its hands and limbs around, right? By making faces, of course, mostly by crying. But as you see, when the mother comes close, the baby is able to find its safety. The baby is able to connect. The baby, because of the rocking movement of the mother, the baby is also able to regulate, right? What is truly happening? Scientifically, and I want all of you to go and check this out on Google. Scientifically, what is happening is that it is proven now that the mother who has her heart, and the heart also has a lot of nerves, by the way. The heart has more neurons than any other part of the body, right? So there is a nervous system of the heart as well. And this heart has an electromagnetic field which extends out of the heart and out of the body. And this electromagnetic field actually runs in rhythm with the baby's heart's electromagnetic field. So mom's heart's electromagnetic field runs in rhythm with the baby's heart's electromagnetic field. So if mom is doing well, she is harmonious, she's coherent, she's joyful, she's exuberant, then baby is also going to feel joyful and exuberant and harmonious and calm. And as a result of this rhythm, mom is doing good and baby is doing good. Baby's brain's neurons, as in the nerve cells, they are going to mirror whatever mother is feeling. And now we know in neuroscience that there is something called mirror neurons, right? Something called mirror neurons, that human beings have these immense capability to simply look at something and mirror it, almost copy it, almost absorb it, right? So we are able to copy stress. We are able to copy joy. We can copy body language. We can copy people, how they look at each other. We can copy the, people's smiles. And that's why you may have seen that how couples, you will see how couples who grow old, you will see how they develop wrinkles around the same part of the face. And hence, they begin to look similar by the time they grow old, right? Why? Because you are looking at the face of this person all your life, and you are mirroring their emotions, because of course you have to reflect it back in order to understand them. And they do the same to reflect back your emotions, because they have to understand you, and they have to make you see that, well, they understand you. So as a result of this mirroring of emotions, the way they unconsciously change their, let's say, smile, or close their eyes, or maybe turn their face or maybe turn their jaw automatically begins to form wrinkles in the same areas of the face where they are mirroring each other's emotions. And this does not start with couples only. This begins right when the mother's heart field, mother's electromagnetic field is mirroring the baby's, and the baby's electromagnetic field of the heart is mirroring the mother's electromagnetic field in her body. And this immense ability leads to the formation of the nervous system, wherein the nervous system is simply adapting to whatever the other person, which is mom, whatever the spouse, much later in life, the nervous system is developing in accordance to the other. According to how the other is feeling, the nervous system is developing, it's forming. And this immense ability of the nervous system to adjust to its environment is called neuroplasticity, right? Whatever kind of relationship we are in, whether we are in an abusive relationship, whether we are in a secure relationship, whether we are in a relationship where mother does not pay us attention, or we are in a relationship where dad is absent, we have the immense ability to shape our nervous system according to the environment. And this ability of the nervous system is called neuroplasticity, meaning we can adjust to any environment, right? And we mirror each other's emotions, each other's experiences, and that's how we grow. That is the reason that without mirroring, we will never come to know who we truly are. But imagine this thing, that if everything is about the other, everything is about the environment, everything is about other people outside of us, which will eventually form our real nervous system, our responses, our behaviors, our feelings, our attitudes. If the other is going to form, how much impact does the other, which is the environment, is going to have on our own development, right? That is only through intimacy, beginning with mother, only through intimacy and connection, we will get to know who we truly are, right? And that's exactly what happens when we are in an intimate relationship, that the other brings out all that is within us, right? So let's look at this. What happens when we are in an intimate relationship? I've given you the biology of intimate relationship till now, right? You all have understood how an intimate relationship affects our biology and affects our nervous system. That much you have understood. Now, let's look at when you grow up, when you become an adult, and you enter an intimate relationship. All these information that I have given you, how does it apply here, right? So an intimate relationship that we develop much later in life is going to replicate the same kind of movement that happens when we first come to life, right? When we are first in our mom's womb, when we are being conceived, often, if not every time, often, it is full of love, it's full of joy and excitement. And that's how we feel when we enter a relationship, right? And we find repetition of this movement in our life. It feels the same. Maybe it feels joyful, maybe it feels exciting, maybe it feels full of love, right? And we try to connect and bond in the similar way by connecting, allowing the other person to decide our self-worth. We want to do things for the other person so that we can earn their love like we did when we were young, right? When we were small, little babies. So we find ways by which we try our best to connect, to bond, and to resonate with the other. We resonated with our mom. Similarly, now we will resonate with our intimate partner, right? However, over a period of time, we become aware of their patterns, like we became aware of our mother's pattern. At 6 o'clock, she's going to go to the kitchen, right? At 2 o'clock, she's going to bring us milk, right? At 10 o'clock, she's going to rock us in bed. So similarly, we also become aware of the patterns, rhythms, and triggers of our partner, our wife, our spouse, our husbands, right? So our environment becomes the other. And now both of our nervous systems have aligned because mirror neurons, right? They have got activated and they are aligned. Now we have learned their cues, their habits, their nature, their sore points, their expressions. So we are actually mirroring them as we mirrored our parents and how our parents mirrored back to us, right? However, one more thing that we have to understand, that when we are doing this, when we are mirroring each other's emotions, the good things, we will also mirror our deepest wounds that we had with our mom and dad, right? Whenever, let's say, we experience neglect from our mom, whenever we go through abandonment with them, right? Every time we have felt unwanted by dad or mom, or maybe we have dissociated and we have gone into our inner core, to our inner feelings, right? That's what we may have done. And sometimes we may have felt unsafe because, well, mom and dad were fighting, they were quarreling, right? Sometimes we have frozen ourselves and we have simply numbed out because there's so much of chaos happening outside between mom, between dad, and there is just too much, and we freeze ourselves and we numb out, right? These are responses during our developmental time that also got mirrored and that we will also bring up in our intimate relationships. Because human beings, believe me, human beings will never ever find out their voids, their traumas, their patterns, their childhood wounds, ever without being in a relationship. 98% of my clients, people I have seen throughout my life in more than a decade, usually come to me with relationship issues. Probably they are going through a horrible divorce, a separation, a breakup. And it is in the throes of these experiences that they come and they say that things are not working out. It's not moving ahead. They are not able to forget. They are not able to get over the betrayal. They are not able to understand what's happening with them. They are unable to figure out why they are going through this midlife crisis, and now they want to give up the relationship and nothing is working for them, even though it was a love marriage. And that's when the journey begins for most people, because the root of this journey is often in those years when the mirroring and the regulation began, which is in childhood. And it actually doesn't begin in childhood, as I said. It begins right in the womb of the mother itself, right? And maybe in the stories of our mothers and fathers. Because as I said, that we are not isolated islands of existence. Everything around us affects into who we become as people and how we love and how we receive love. That also includes our extended family, our society, our culture, our race, our country. We are a part of the collective, carrying the collective within us and into our relationship. We carry the collective into our relationship, right? We don't enter as individuals. When two people are getting married, they do not come together as two people. They are carrying a huge load of the collective behind them that are completely unaware and entering into the relationship with that bag. They don't enter as individuals. None of us enter as individuals. Please remember this, okay? So when someone says, let's say when for example, let's say when a man says that, you are never there for me, you are always absent and don't care, you never care about me. And the woman says that, you ask too much out of me, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I'm not able to give you what you ask out of me. Who are they truly asking from? Who are they truly complaining, right? The man probably is complaining about his mom. You are never there for me, you're always absent, and you don't care about me. Maybe there were 20 children, maybe there were 10 children, and he's just one of them, and he feels left out. And now he's projecting all those feelings onto his partner. Similarly, this woman could be one of the eldest daughters in a family where she grew up taking care of, let's say, 5 siblings, because the mother was ill and she had to take care of the whole family. So now she's exhausted. And even though she tries her level best to give, she's unable to. Both of them are bringing up their childhood wounds into the relationship, which will eventually cause rift in this relationship, just because as a society, we have a very narrow lens of looking at them. We will never be able to look at them as systems. We will continue to look at them as individuals. And that's the fallacy. That's the whole fallacy. Our inability to look at individuals as doors to a system is our greatest fallacy of why relationships do not survive. What are we looking for in a relationship, essentially, that is different from what we looked for from our primary caregiver, which is our mom? The same things. We look for the same things in a relationship: safety, connection, love, trust, acceptance, significance. These are the things we are looking for. But then we are looking for all of these things from the wrong person. We have to understand that the person from whom we are looking for these things are also looking for the same things from us. And there is a mismatch of expectations, because their job is not to give us this. It's our mom's job, it's our dad's job to give us these, not our partner's job, right? Because we are in an equal relationship. Coming to a case study. So here we have a client, right? I'm going to call this client, what do I call her? Right, let me call her Monica, okay? So here is Monica here, and Monica's parents separate when Monica's dad is around 36, right? Obviously, when dad leaves, she's the only child, and her mom eventually begins to lean on her because she has no one to lean on, right? Oftentimes, parents lean on children, and children become their emotional support, right? Now, when Monica reaches the age of 36, around the same time when dad does, she ends up having a divorce. However, even before the divorce happens, right from her teenage years, she goes through experiences of PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian disease or syndrome, and hormonal imbalance, which is her body already is rejecting her femininity at some level, right? And she goes through divorce, and she starts smoking and drinking, right? And on a very obvious level, she also does not like her father, because that's the story she gets from her mother. Her mother is also not at fault because, well, she also feels helpless, right? However, here we see that something is going on. What is going on exactly? Monica is filling up the space of her father in her mother's life. From the very beginning, she has been the most supportive daughter. She has stood and become almost her proxy spouse and taken care of her mother, allowed her to lean on her, right? Said to her mother that you don't need that, you have me. But what's the cost that she pays? The cost that she pays is her own marriage, right? So somehow, from the very beginning, her position is very set. It's very solid, by the way. Her position is, I am my mom's support, and unconsciously, I am also filling up my dad's place in my mom's life. So will I then have space for someone else? Because if I'm already in the position of a husband to my mom, will I then attract another partner in my life and be there for them? Well, you will not have the energy to be in another relationship if you're already in one, right? So not only Monica is repeating the experience of her mother's divorce, but interestingly, what she's also doing is, at a visible level, even though she rejects her father, she is absorbing all the attributes of becoming the man that was not there in her life, right? which is her father. So father was also a smoker. He was also addicted. So she absorbs all of that. He leaves mom at 36. So she leaves her husband at 36. So not only is she repeating the experiences of her mother, but also she's stepping into the footsteps of her father. But then how would we look at this? We will never look at this from this point of view, because we will also always say that, oh, Monica had a rift with her husband, and the husband said this and that, and then she moved out, or maybe she let him go. But then there is always a systemic truth beyond the visible truth, right? So here is another case where this man, he says that he wants to sort of push away his wife, right? I feel angry with that kind of love, because for him, probably that love feels overwhelming. Now, when we look at the stories of both these two people, here is David, who wants to push her away because he feels angry and suffocated. And Eva, David's wife, she wants to cling on because she fears he will go away or he will abandon her, right? So let's look at why David feels that Eva's love is overwhelming. He gets angry with that kind of love. Because when we look at his story, we get to know that when David was just born, he was kept away at the hospital in an incubator, and his mom couldn't visit him for the longest time. So the kind of angst, unsafety, loss of connection that he experienced with his mom remained in the form of anger towards love. So when she comes back, he's unable to feel that love. He's unable to absorb that love, right? Which is a projection to his wife. And he almost wants to let her go, leave her. For her, she wants to now cling on to him. Why does that happen? Because just before Eva was born, her mother went through 2 miscarriages, right? And now the mother, what she does to Eva is, because she's very scared that she might lose Eva as well, she becomes overprotective towards her. But at the same time, there are moments when the mother sinks into her own grief and it's completely unavailable. So the mother's behavior is very unpredictable, you see. One day you would want to control and be there and be overprotective, and another day you just disappear because you sink into your grief, right? And that makes Eva very unstable. So she only learns that by clinging on, I can ensure that no one leaves me this way. So these two people are victims of their past. And unfortunately, it's not the fault of their mothers. It's not to say that blame the mother or blame the parent, but there are experiences and events which have happened in the mother's life as well, which has eventually shaped the mirroring of these people's perception of love, right? And therefore, it is important to allow these people to make a journey back into their past, to look into their systems. Where do they carry the stories from? Because even if these people don't come for therapy, even if they have the awareness of their system, it is still going to help them to look at their partner from a completely different lens, and not with the lens that they have inherited as a result of their experiences with their mother. And this is exactly what I teach in my course, the Systemic Medicine course. I help people find the fractures and the disconnections and the dissociations in their system, because no person exists as an individual island. There is always a system behind them. And until we begin to look at lives from a system perspective or systemic perspective, we will never understand what lies beyond an individual life that governs the life force of that life. Okay? So systemic understanding is the most essential understanding. And hence, even to therapists, even to healers, even to coaches, I always say that whatever training you have acquired in all these years, if there is no systemic perspective, there will always be a gap. And that gap will never be fulfilled without knowing the system, right? And one of the most unusual cases that I came across a year back, actually, this case was a year back, and I wanted to share this case with you, is here is a man, look at this man in blue. Here is a man who gets married because, well, he loves his wife and his girlfriend, and then he gets married to this girlfriend and she becomes his wife, excuse me. And just right after marriage, he starts experiencing these very suspicious thoughts about her. He feels that she might leave him for another man, she might betray him. So he would become very, very obsessive about her, and there would be like really angry spells whenever she would disappear, or even if she goes and meets one of our friends, he would be so angry and he would try to rebuke her and reprimand her. And then we try to look into the childhood of this person, and we just found nothing. We didn't find anything. And I was beginning to do intergenerational work. I was beginning to use systemic medicine more and more with my clients. And then I started feeling that, okay, if not in the childhood of this person, let's look into the system. Because by then the woman, which is the man's wife, had already filed for divorce, by the way. And he had just gone into this storm of obsession and doubt and betrayal that, see, I said that she's betraying. I said that she's, cheating on me, going to another man and all of that, blah, blah, blah. So this is the confirmation. That's why she wants the divorce. And I said, wait a moment. Did she tell you that she's seeking the divorce because she's seeing another man? And he said, no, that's not true. But then I know it in my heart that this is what it is. I said, wait a moment, let's look at what it is. Because by then he had gone to all psychologists, he had gone to all therapists, and all of them were trying to figure this out at a very individual, basic marriage counseling level. And believe me, marriage counseling does not work. Okay. So then we started looking at his system, and then we found out that his grandmother was deeply in love with this man. Okay. And this man, he has to go and join the army because he has to be a part of this war. Okay. And then he goes to this war, and he promises his lover, his beloved, that you must wait for me for a year. It's only a question of a year, and the war is going to be over. And even if it is not over, I am still going to complete my training and I will come back, right? And then I will marry you. So I only want you to wait for a year. Now, what happens is the grandmother's family, they somehow don't agree. After 6 months, when nothing shows up, they marry her off to another man, which is our client's grandfather, right? So there is a reason why I have made this man blue and this man blue. This man is the first lover of grandmother. So you see all the feelings of this man, how angry he was, how was he affected by the betrayal of grandmom, how he felt that she cheated on him and abandoned him, how he felt that she could simply leave him in the middle of this journey and then go away, is exactly what this man feels with his wife. Even though that is not the story, but this man is somehow a victim of a story that happened in the life of his grandmother. And even though this man is not a part of his family, somehow his soul tries to include this man, right? As I've written here, sometimes by our actions, we may be trying to include a member who was long forgotten, and that action can also be a divorce. And this is the beauty of systemic work, that when we find these crazy entanglements, these are entanglements, what do you call them, right? You call them entanglements, right? As if I am living someone else's life and sabotaging my own relationship because someone else is sitting inside me, right? Of course, it's not a ghost, it's not a spirit, but it is the trauma that someone else has gone through in my system and now is functioning through me. Sigmund Freud, you all know about Sigmund Freud. Freud said that this is what is called the repetition compulsion. Go ahead, check the internet, type repetition compulsion and see that every individual somehow or the other repeats compulsively all the unresolved trauma in their own life, which they carry from some time before. And the space where this repetition happens most of the time is our interpersonal relationships, right? This is the truth of separation. This is the truth of divorce, because it is not about two individuals. It's about this whole plethora of dynamics that two people carry with them, mountains, two different mountains, they come together with all that muck and rack and all of that, and that's how they bring in, and that's how they converge, right? So that's what is called repetition compulsion. Okay. So what is the solution? What is the solution? The solution is to not for two people to keep looking at each other and expecting from the other. The solution does not exist in this relationship. This is the husband, this is the wife, this is the wife, this is the husband. No, this is not where the solution is. The solution is when these two people begin to face on the other side, and this one looks at their system and this one looks at their system, what entanglements they carry from their system. Every single time, the solution is in the system of origin, the systems that we belong to. So many people tell me that, my mother-in-law is like this and my husband is like that. And some husband will come and tell me, my wife is like this. And then, her family does not respect me. And they want to still find the solution within the relationship. And when they want to do that, I tell them, I'm really not the right therapist for you. And that's not where the solution is, because I know it. That's not where the solution is. System work and systemic medicine teaches us that the solution is always in the system of origin. My system of origin is the system, the family, where I belong to, where I come from, where I have been born, where my mother, my father, my grandparents are. Similarly, your system will be from the family you come. Doesn't matter whether you are a man or a woman. But the solution is not in the system that you get married to. So even on the face of a divorce, it is not with your spouse that the solution exists. The solution exists in the system, in the family you come from, okay? And that system needs to be explored. Without the exploration of that system, you will always have this lens by which you will continue to look at your relationship from a victim perspective. And exactly that's what will manifest. So hence, systemic medicine becomes more and more important. And as you all know, that I am coming up with a course called the Systemic Medicine course. And this course, give me a moment. Yeah, and this course is not only open to all the therapists, all the healers, all the coaches who may be working in relationships in the sector of relationship, but also for any one of you who might be wanting to have a deeper look into all the system traumas, intergenerational traumas, attachment traumas our wounds and injuries with our mother and father, and everything that we bring from there into our own life, right? Into our own life and manifest, like you saw how it manifested in all the cases that I've explained you. And this course is happening from the 4th of February onwards, 2022. So we barely have just, let's say, 2 weeks more to go, right? And for a moment, because I'm already talking about the course, let me take you to the website of the course and what I'm going to offer in this course, okay? So hold on and just give me one moment. Great. Just trying to share my screen. Finally have this. Right, so this is the website of our upcoming course. And I think Garima, one of our course coordinators, has already posted in the chat box the link to this course. And I'm slowly also opening the chat box now for everyone to post their comments and queries. And this is the course, this is the systemic medicine course that I will be offering to all of you for you to have a deeper look into your system. And not only have a look, not only to explore, but to completely go into the roots of wherever you bring these traumas from, whether it's your mom, whether it's your dad, whether it's your grandparent, wherever you bring it from within your system and how you play it out in your life, right? Because at the end of the day, there are these forces in your system which set the course of your life in motion. You don't even know that the aspirations that you have, the desires that you have, the wishes that you have, whether they are truly yours or whether you are bringing it from the system. All the sabotaging in relationships that happen, all the breaks that you go through, every time you dissociate from your partner, every time you move away from your partner, every time you get angry on them, every time they get angry on you, every time you feel like leaving them, every time you feel as if you don't have a choice, every time you find yourself in an abusive relationship again and again, who exactly are you repeating from your system and how? So any person who is either working in the sector or the area of relationships or is going through themselves all these painful experiences must come to this course and think of this as a gift to yourself, I would say, right? So while you all can type your comments and questions in the chat box, let me first of all go over the course website, and then I will go to your questions, okay? So this is the Systemic Medicine course, Trauma Healing with Family Constellation. And here we have a total of 20 classes. The course is going to run for 3 months, which is February, March, and April. There will be 12 live classes, which will be done by me. We have a great team of supervisors who are going to help you with your supervisions, who are going to help you support and bring up all your queries and concerns. And therefore, we need support sessions so that you understand your entanglements at a deeper level. And there will, of course, be 4 recorded lectures based on different themes that play out in your system, which will help you understand your family, your system, your ancestral line, your intergenerational traumas better. So a total of 20 classes. right? A total of 20 classes. And if you go to the curriculum part of this website, you already have the address. If you go to the curriculum part of this website, you will see that there is class 1, class 2, and we have taken the minutest of care to note down every single topic that we will be covering in each class. It's a lot, I understand. But isn't a lot worth it then? Isn't it worth it to go through it, to do the work? If you have spent 20 years of your life, or 25 years of your life, or 30 years of your life, trying to figure out who you are, what your relationships are about, who you love, what your self-worth is, why you are stuck in a certain kind of pattern, if you've wasted that many years of your life and not being able to find out, will 3 months is just not even 2% of that time. So is it too much to go through that, right? I always tell people who come to therapy with to me, and they say that, I don't know how much time is going to take. And I said that, how long have you spent trying to figure out the solution to this problem? And they would say, my whole life, I've been wondering about this my whole life, this pattern, I don't understand. And I say that, which means that even if you contribute 3 months to working with me, it's not even 2% of that time, right? So can we have patience just for that much amount of time? Because at the end of the day, we are going to resolve it. Right? And that's the same I'm going to tell you about this course as well. That when you sign up for this course and when you resolve your own issues or you learn something new, it's not even 2% of the time you spend in trying to either learn or figure out your own issues, right? People who will be joining as practitioners, some of them will also set up their own practices. Some of them will go ahead and become healers or become therapists. For them, we have a practitioner certificate, which will be issued after the completion of this course and a few assignments. But yes, this is also a practitioner course for people who may want to come as therapists or coaches, right? Or someone completely new and wants to try out in becoming a therapist or a coach. And yeah, going to the pricing, right now, our course is at 1,50,000 rupees, okay? And we are accepting registration till the 1st of February, because 4th February, our course starts and we need some time to prepare all our participants. So we will be taking registrations till 1st of February only. The good part here is we have great EMI options and schemes, right? I will soon go there. But before that, I also want to let you know that along with these 12 live classes, 4 support sessions, 4 recorded lectures, we also have 6 months access to all the recorded video lessons and handouts. And most importantly, we will have a Facebook group wherein all the supervisors are going to be there along with me, who will listen to all your doubts, answer them, attend to your queries. And basically, we want to develop this whole community of people, community of healers as well as healies who can come together and help each other and have this space, each one of them educated and trained in the realm of systemic work, so that is the lens, a wider lens that we carry when we work as a community, so that we can educate people also, not only from an individual perspective in their life, but from a systemic perspective. So that's the reason why we will eventually have a community. And hence, there will be assistance from us, assistance from our supervisors, and we will also have a Facebook group to discuss all the different doubts and queries, right? So don't feel that we are going to leave you midway just after you have finished the course. That's not going to happen. We will support you through every single way. Some people even asked me in the last masterclass that, will you help us support if we want to set up our own therapy practice, therapy business? And I said, yes, that's going to be a part of the course, because if you do not feel empowered after doing the course to go ahead and start off your own practice, what's the point of doing a course anyway, right? And in our About Us section, you can read about me and my work. But then let me quickly go to, yeah, so you can simply select on the price, which, as I said, is 1,50,000. And after you have selected the price, this is going to guide you to sign up. Okay, so you can simply put up your email ID, your phone number, and then it's going to guide you to simply use your credit card. And then if you want to avail an EMI, then you will have different schemes, and you can use one of them and go ahead and buy the course. However, I know that some of you will need assistance in doing that. If you feel that you will need assistance, then Garima, who is our course coordinator, her number is already given here, and she's also going to type down her number in the chat box. Here you can see in the website, every single page of the website, towards the end of the website, her number 931-576-6799 is already given, and you can also find her number in the chat box. Okay, so the only thing that you need to do is simply get in touch with her, and she will guide you through the process. She will also stand by you as you do the entire work, right? So yeah, that is all about the class and the systemic medicine course. If you all happen to have any questions or queries, you can, of course, ask me. And if I have missed out something, then either Garima or Gargi, our course coordinators, they're going to voice it out. But before that, let me see if we have any questions. There's a question. Will we go deep in inner child work? As I noticed, there is just one class on it. Great question. So when we do systemic work, we essentially start with our attachment traumas, meaning our traumas with our mom and with our dad. Inner child work is just another name for attachment trauma. So you would expect me to talk about attachment trauma in each and every single class. That is the answer to the question. If you all have any other question regarding the course, you can even come off the mic and ask me since we have finished the class, or you can put it down in the chat box. Okay, so there's a question. If some issues of one's own comes up on the surface while taking these classes, and one might need assistance to make sense of it, then will one need to take therapy for that simultaneously during the course? So this is a great question. There are two answers to this question. One answer is that the supervisors are going to be there for one-on-one support to help each and every student function, figure out, explore, and heal whatever traumas, whatever points, triggers come up. Secondly, I always tell people that while in the journey of doing any training program, any workshop, you must also ensure that you go to a trauma-informed expert and take a few sessions. In fact, some of the courses makes it mandatory for people to go ahead and do sessions while they are in the course or before they take up the course. We don't have that mandatory option here. I mean, I'm not putting that option here, but yes, my recommendation always is to work with a trauma-informed expert for any training, not just this training, any training that you do, right? Okay, any more questions, any more comments? Garima, do you want to add something?
No, Gaurav, I think we are good to go.
Okay.
We have covered everything.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, I want to let you know that if you have any questions, any queries about the course, and if you're still deciding that this is the last moment, should I go for the course? Is it worth it? Should I make it happen? Can I give my 3 months to it? Call up Garima, speak to her. If there is anything that is pulling you back or any hesitance showing up, then she's the one who is going to help you out and make an informed, proper decision. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you for this evening. I will see you then. Okay. Bye-bye.